boys and girls, I've been waiting for this one. We tried hooking up a little bit earlier in the year, but the King COVID, the King COVID, never mind. The King COVID is running wild out there, so our schedules have hooked up. And look who I got! It's stirring the pot with Don Kincaid on a very fine Tuesday evening. We have none other than Gabriel Skye. What's up, my man?
What's going on, brother? Thank you for having me on the Kincaid Files.
Absolutely. Now, what we like to do on here, of course you've seen me at the shows. I'm a jackass. What we like to do is F with the bad guys and have fun with the good guys. But on this show, it kind of just, since we sort of pot, it just seems that we all have fun. No matter if you're a good guy, heel or face, if you will.
For sure.
We just have a great time. We pull back the curtain a little bit. We get to know one Gabriel Skye. The fans that don't know who Gabriel Skye is, we'll get to that at the tail end. Look him up. Get on the old face page and shit. We'll get to that later. Check him out. The ones that do know him, we might be able to get a little something that you might never known about our friend Gabriel Skye. So enough of my chatter. Welcome to the show. And I thank you for setting some time aside because, like I said, when I'm at the show, I'm a jackass. I just, I run with the lips.
It's all good, man. That's why we love having you around, man. You've got like this energy that everyone can't wait to see what he's gonna say this time or how he's gonna heckle this guy. That's why I love bumping into Don Kincaid. Especially the impromptu interviews. I'm just like, all right, let's go.
Tons of fun, my friend. That's what wrestling is supposed to be.
Hell yeah.
And I'm going to start here because what we do as fans, and I know you do, you boys and girls as workers, wrestlers, if you will, you have wrestling part of your life to get away from the bullshit, get away from the bills and fighting with the old lady, if you will, or just a shitty day at work. That's what wrestling is for us as fans. And I know on the flip side, it's the same thing for you boys and girls. You, Gabriel Skye personally, is that a little getaway for you, a little therapy for yourself, sir?
Yeah, definitely. Anytime I get into a ring, whether it's at training or on a show, or I just get to just watch a match and just zone out, I'm able to just close everything out. Anything that's going on in my life that's bothering me, or I can't stop thinking, just sit down and involve myself in a match, or just put 110% of myself into the ring. Feels like nothing else matters. You know what I mean? You kind of just go into like that zen of just like, all right, this is what I'm gonna do right now. This is what matters right now. So anytime I'm in there, that's 110% focus, and that's me times 1,000. That's why I love it.
And it's weird how that happens with wrestling. I could have such a shit day at work. I'm thinking about this stupid bill that I haven't paid in a while or whatever. But I get my phone, take it out of my pocket. I walk through those doors and everything. And I do mean everything, Mr. Skye. No bullshit. Everything just disappears. And I forget about what the hell just happened. And I'm there in the zone. Like you said, I'm in the zone and I'm having a blast. And it's just such a fantastic getaway for us. Everybody all around. So I'm glad it's therapeutic as well for you. You spoke about watching wrestling. What's a go-to match if Mr. Gabriel Skye is going to something?
A go-to match. Ooh, man. A go-to match for me right now, it's been CM Punk versus Daniel Bryan from Over the Limit 2012. I think, yeah. That's just a go-to match for me. It's a little long, but it's a go-to match for me because both guys just like influenced my style.
Mm-hmm.
So match, it just like reminds me why I love doing what I do. Just like it's just pure competition and passion. So anytime I'm able to just sit down and watch a match like that, I'm like, all right, I'm all in right now.
Man, such a fun such a fine match
Yeah,
uh,
man.
to put out there and soak in and take in. And what we talk about on this show is character, storylines. I love that.
Mm,
Lengthy title run. Some don't like them. I do. Personally, I like a lengthy title run.
yeah, me.
Test of Strength, GM Alex
Me too.
Rojas. Yeah. The GM of Test of Strength, if you're listening to this by any chance, Gabriel Skye, Dominic De Niro. Together, they're called the Nightcrawlers. We've only had
Nitro.
one tag team champion in Test of Strength. And I'm running into this because title runs, my friend. You yourself might have a little chance of getting your fingers on some of that gold a little bit later in Test of Strength.
Ooh,
And I know that you're one of the newer talents that have come into Test of Strength. That's how we've met. Uh,
yeah.
Nightcrawlers, gold. I see that in your future, my friend. You guys are working towards it, yes?
Hell yeah. Yeah, no, we've had our eyes on those titles from the moment that Dom asked me to come in and help him. He's been in a few different tag teams before, not just in Test of Strength, but on the independent scene as a whole. And with my tag team partner Tristan Ty being out for a little bit, Dom came to me and was like, "Hey, I have this goal in mind. I want to go after these tag team titles. Are you with me?" And I said, "Hell yeah." So from the moment that we made our debut in TOS, we've had our eyes on the Kowalski guys. They've been the guys to beat. They've been the best around there, And every single show we've stated, we're next. We're up next. We want those titles. So whenever TOS is back, no matter who we're standing across the ring with, we're going to make a statement. Non-title or title match. We're going to make a statement because that's just what the Nightcrawlers do. It's a legacy. We kick ass, we take names, and when we take those titles, we're going to prove that we're the best. That's what it's all about.
Uh, very well said. First off, those titles are very eye catching, are they not, sir?
They are very bright and very shiny. That's why I love them.
Second off, yourself, Mr. De Niro. I've seen Mr. De Niro with the likes of Chris Barton,
Yep.
The East Coast Syndicate, if you will.
Yes,
They've
sir.
been around. They've been around Test of Strength as a tag team. Again, part of the Sas. I never say this right. Sasujin, Sasujin squad.
Yes, sir.
Dominic will be proud of that. Now, you come in together as a tag team, haven't worked as a tag team, if I'm not mistaken, because you've just mentioned a previous tag team partner. The chemistry seems to be very good right off the top, my friend.
Thank you. Yeah, we actually, myself, De Niro, Chris Barton, and as I mentioned, Tristan Ty, were actually all a part of a stable in CZW a while back. So that's how far we go back. We were the East Coast Syndicate.
All of you guys were the East Coast Syndicate?
All four of us were the East Coast Syndicate a few moons ago. And even further than that, me and Dom trained together when we first started. I was there when he was doing his first roles. He was there when I was doing my first roles. We were taking our first bumps together. So we go back a while, So that's how far that brotherhood goes back. And, for a while, East Coast Syndicate wasn't in full formation. All four of us were doing our own separate things, trying our own separate journeys in this crazy world of wrestling. And when the time came for Dom to be like, "Hey, like I said, I want to go after these tag team titles. You want to do this with me?" I was like, "Hell yeah, I'm down." So, that's the medium that we're at. He has a passion for this, and so do I. When passion recognizes passion, man, you guys become unstoppable.
Yeah, you got the Nightcrawlers, baby.
You got the Nightcrawlers.
This, boys and girls, this might be a condensed version of a Stir in the Pot, but we're going to do something in the very near future, like in another couple days. So we're going to extend from what you see today, because my schedule, I try to keep a schedule, and life gets in front of you sometimes, and you can't always keep that. So we might cut it short on this one, because I usually run about an hour. I can chit-chat, my friend. I can chit-chat. So I just jump around all over the place, and I don't like to do the general questions. Like, we try to find out where have you trained and how long you been in the biz and all of that stuff, but
Yeah.
maybe in a different way. So you did mention that you were upcoming with your boy Dominic De Niro. Where was this fantastic facility that has produced some great talent that we get to see right now on the scene, man?
This was in Queens, New York, back in an old FTW school. Uh, yeah, down on like the borderline of Brooklyn, Queens. We were training with Grim Reaper at the time. If you know who Grim Reaper is,
I do.
yes. So we learned from like one of the most raw and rugged wrestlers out there, especially for the New York style, East Coast style as a whole. He had that big influence on it. So for him to pass that down to us was like, all right, we're gonna carry this type of legacy out, but we're gonna make it our own. We're gonna make it our own. We're gonna make our own style, so that years from now, people will be like, yeah, I was inspired by Skye. I was inspired by De Niro. You know, so yeah, that was about now 4 or 5 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
I gotta say, because around that 5 year mark, it's really not a long tenure and it's not a short tenure.
Yeah.
You're kind of just maybe finding your groove a little bit. Some might be a little bit later, some might be earlier. But I'm assuming because if you've seen me, I'm built like a candle. I'm not getting in that fucking ring. So anywho, you're kind of finding your groove. Am I kind of correct on saying that?
Yeah, nah, I would agree with that. In terms of like confidence and ability and athleticism, I feel like, every year I try to get better and better. I actually just passed my 4 year mark like a week ago or a few days ago. And I think right now, like people are what I'm about to do in the world of wrestling, the work that I'm about to produce, it's only just going to scratch the surface of what I'm capable of. And I hope people, fans and workers alike recognize that because, I every time I step into the ring, it's 110%, no matter where it is. So,
well, again, we're used to seeing Mr. De Niro with Mr. Barton. So when you
yeah.
come in, a couple of the lady fans over at Test of Strength are like, first off, where's Mr. Barton? But who the hell is that? Who is that right there?
Hey.
What?
It's the abs, man. It's the abs. It's the hair.
I did mention off the camera, gorgeous AF is one Gabriel Skye. My question is, as a wrestler, have you run into the lady fans maybe grabbing or trying to get at one Mr. Gabriel Skye across the guardrails or what have? Because we fans, we're fucking loopy, man. We're whacked out. So have you had any crazy instances with the fans yet?
I've had a few instances with, I guess some of the lady fans where they're like, "Hey, can I feel your hair? Can I smell your hair?" And like I'm one of those people that's just like, "Hey, if that's what you want to do, go ahead. As long as you don't cut any locks off, as long as you're not pulling my hair out of my head, hey, be my guest." So
okay, could you ever imagine that? Be like, wait, what the hell?
Yeah, take a sample of Gabe Skye's hair, sell it on eBay. It's all good.
That'll be $32.50 a sniff. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Brought to you by Bob.
In the ring, my friend, you look like you're having an amazing time because we, the fans, can tell. And I know fans nowadays, the way we have evolved as wrestling and such, as the wrestling fan has evolved over the years, we think we know everything in the business, if you will. I've never been one of those guys. Believe me, I know probably that just about that much because there's so much to the business, if you will.
Yeah.
So I've never been, when I play guitar, I don't tell people I'm Eddie Van Halen because I'm not fucking Eddie Van Halen. I know my limitations. So my point being, though, is the fans, they think they know a ton of stuff. But when we see Gabriel Skye in the ring, I got to say, what I see from my eyes, you're having an absolute blast in there. may it be singles, may it be tag team, because I have seen other footage on the old face page or YouTube, if you will,
Yes.
because during this whole COVID thing, never mind. During this whole mess we got going on, I
Yeah.
have seen you do some stuff outside, if you will, going against the likes of one of my faves, and I gotta say, Steve Pena, dude, holy shit,
Yeah.
Steve effing Pena, baby.
He's a hard hitter. He's a hard hitter, bro. He's a hard hitter, and he's built like a brick house, man. That's the guy that you got to throw 110% of your strikes into, because if you don't, he's gonna just give it right back to you. But yeah, anytime I'm in there, I'm always having a blast, and I'm always, like I said, putting 110% of myself in there. Um, I love just being able to exactly what we talked about earlier. That same therapeutic sense of being able to watch wrestling, just zone out. I love being able to provide that for other people as well. Because growing up, that was always my go-to too. Like, as a kid, if I had a bad day or if I was going through a rough time, wrestling was always there. I was just able to get my mind off of stuff just by going on YouTube or popping in a DVD or going to a streaming service and just being able to just divulge myself into a match. I love providing that for fans, especially when I could just like flip all over the place and just, get hit hard or hit even harder. So anytime I'm in there, it's a blast and it's competition. I love it.
uh, Becoming your mind when you're telling yourself, okay, I'm going to become a wrestler, you start training. Was your goal as a wrestler, did you have a vision of yourself being a high flyer like you are right now?
Somewhat, yeah. Like I had a lot of my favorite wrestlers were kind of doing that same style I'm trying to hone and sharpen now. Like, a lot of my influences were, CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, Jericho, Eddie Guerrero, even John Cena. So it was like I knew to an extent, like being even back then, I had a smaller frame. So I was like, okay, like I might not be one of the biggest, but at least if I get into a ring, I'll be able to flip. I started just doing like cartwheels and like front flips and back flips in my backyard into the pool. It's like as a kid, you have like almost no regard for your body. You're just like, oh, well, I'm invincible. And you think once you get into a ring, it's like, oh, this is going to be easy. And then you just start practicing it more and more. It's like, all right, well, this is not, I don't have the best form, but I know that if I keep practicing, I'll get better at this. So I kind of figured, I'd have to do like these 450s and like Hurricane Ranas and stuff. So, yeah.
Uh, Again, you seem comfortable in the ring, and I know it doesn't come easy, and it takes a lot of practice and a
Yeah.
lot of repetition, a lot of honing the physical part, the mental part,
Hmm.
keeping both of those together. You look fantastic. You come out. Now, another thing, boys and girls, if you don't know about Gabriel Skye, we talk about coming through the curtain for the very first time. Looks good physically, looks good with his gear, though. His gear is on point, if you will. It doesn't look like shit. It's not like handmade from his grandmother, and we love our grandmothers, but we don't like that kind of look. We like a nice professional, especially with that flowing hair. I wish I had some of that, my man. I'm not
Hey
taking
man,
this
I'll
hat
cut
off.
some off. I got more than enough to go around.
That'll be 32.50. But you have a good look about you, and I want to point out the gear. You took some time, you put some thought into it. You wanted to look good with the physical part, but your gear looks good. Where are you getting your gear from, my friend?
So I actually get my gear from I don't know if you're familiar with BWF, the
Mm-hmm,
guy that
mm-hmm.
runs that, Bronco.
I do.
Yeah,
Bronco's a fucking man.
Bronco's a machine, brother. It's wild. He's a fucking machine. And I've been going to him. He made my first set of professional gear back in 2018, 2017. And ever since then, every time I've come back to him since then, he's always put like this extra effort into my gear. I've noticed. So it's always been, very consistent, very good looking. Um, One of the last sets of gear that I got from him was actually like a Eddie Guerrero tribute gear. It's half gold, half black. I just wore it this weekend at Game Changer, and I saved that gear for specific events just because it looks so high quality. And I was just like, like I can't just wear this anywhere. I have to wear this when it's really important. So Always. I always go to my man Bronco. He's always hooking it up.
I've never seen. No wonder why it's quality, a quality look from the eye. That guy has never, and I see so many talent with what he's produced for gear. Never once have I said, "Oh, really? That's Broncos work." It's always been, "Holy shit! Of course that's Broncos work." You know,
He's the
kind of.
man. He's
And I don't. I mean, yeah, I see it as a fan, and I might not see it often enough to be able to pick it off of a specific, some of his artwork or what have you.
yeah,
But my goodness, quality work does he produce? I will definitely give you that, man.
always, always.
Speaking of game changer, very, very. How do I put this? There was mucho familiar faces out there from our area that I seen, and I wasn't up no 24 hours watching this. Believe me, it had its ups, it had its downs, it had its kinks. It made history. Okay,
Yeah.
it made history, and my man Gabriel Skye was part of that. Boys and girls, if you don't know what we're speaking of, GCW just this past weekend, Game Changer Wrestling did a 24-hour run from this past Friday night at 8 p.m. and it ran until 8 p.m. the following Saturday evening. And the only time the camera moved from the ring was when they did sponsor commercials. They would take a break from the ring or what have you. But the only other times, and I'm going to get into this real quick because I don't want to take too much time on that, is when it did start up, they got flagged on the old tube. And you couldn't watch the thing. It just fucking stopped. So you could view it on the tube, Fight, and their Twitch channel. So I scoot over to their Twitch channel. These guys were running off of a live feed off of the tube or Fight, so they didn't have like a specific feed for Twitch. So these guys were scurrying, swearing up and down, and trying to figure out what the hell happened. Because if you go to YouTube, all you saw was a little warning thing, okay?
Yeah.
So if you go to Fight TV, it was actually running, but with no audio.
Yeah, that was a scary moment right there. I was watching from my home right there, and I was wondering, like the screen just went black, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Like I wonder what happened. I hope everything's all right. And then they come back, there's no audio. But thank God they were able to like recover and like show like the rest of the event in like full remission and full service. So that was awesome.
And you got to be part of that, sir.
Yeah, that was a great experience. That was really special, man. To be able to go out and do that, especially on a 24-hour show, and like no one's doing that, especially right now. For Game Changer to provide a platform for guys like myself that are coming up and trying to make their name in this industry, and to not only do that, but to also provide a service where people are donating as much as they want for all of the wrestlers. Like it was just so special, and to be able to do that with Ken Broadway, who's also another guy who came from New York. We go back also, and to just be able to do that and have that killer match with him was just like surreal. It almost doesn't hit you till like we two young guys just made out a big statement. So that was great, man. It's a great time at Game Changer.
Now, what they did for that 24-hour run was they took promotions and did blocks, if you will. So X promotion was this. You had 5, 6 matches, then a commercial break, and then it would kind of move on throughout their run. What promotion were you guys under the umbrella of on that?
We were under the umbrella of Violence and Suffering.
Ooh.
Yeah, they're a promotion that they're actually just starting to really pick up a lot of steam in the last few months. Their events have been killer, and this Saturday is their premiere on IWTV. It's In Too Deep. Premieres not Saturday, this Sunday 3 In Too Deep, and they got a crazy card, and that's another great platform for guys like myself,
Absolutely.
trying to make their break in the industry and really break through and prove that they're the best. You go to Violence and Suffering for that.
I spend the old $10 on IWTV. Sunday, let's see, Sunday. I don't think anybody wants to talk to me on Sunday. If I don't fill up my schedule, because Mr. Skye, I'm a jackass. I do 4 or 5 interviews in one day like on a Saturday or a Sunday. I'm not that bright. I don't know what the hell I do that.
Hey, no, you're a workhorse, man. That's the fun thing, you know.
If my schedule doesn't fill up, boys and girls, go check it out. IWTV, violence and suffering.
Yes, sir. Violence and Suffering this Sunday, 3 p.m.
Sounds like a disturbing promotion, my friend.
You know, some would say there's a lot of violence. Some would say there's a lot of suffering. There's only just there's a little bit of in between them both. But what you're gonna find is some of the best wrestling, you know, in the world right now. That's what you're guaranteed to find.
Again, boys and girls, we talk to different talent that we haven't spoken to before, because then we hear of new like Ken Broadway. I haven't seen him around here in a while. I would love to see Mr. Broadway around here. I know he was really hot in HOG for a while.
Yeah.
Love me some Mr. Broadway. But we hear new talent names. We hear new different promotions that we might have not heard of. So some of these talents, some of these promotions, boys and girls, go look them up on the face page, YouTube, Insta, TikTok, or whatchamacallit, MySpace. Go to MySpace. Type the shit in.
Go to MySpace. Find my MySpace blog, brothers.
So, Mr. Skye, we have touched upon so much already.
Yeah.
In such a short amount of time. We've been running about 26 minutes. I know this is about half of what I usually do, and I feel very naked that I have to stop right now. I am dressed from the bottom down. I will say that. I do feel naked that I am cutting this kind of in half to keep a schedule. So what I'd like to do is, where can we find Gabriel Skye on all of the cool social medias?
So you can find Gabriel Skye on Twitter and Instagram at Gabriel Skye _ and on Facebook at just Gabriel Skye. That's pretty much where you can find me. I'll be posting on there and doing my stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
On my YouTube channel, there's some test of strength stuff there. You can check out some Gabriel Skye footage. But if they're on YouTube and they want to check out Gabriel Skye footage, is there some on there? Is there a channel or promotions that we can check out?
Yes, actually, yeah, for sure. You could actually just type in my name on YouTube. You'll see a whole bunch of matches from Beyond, CZW,
Nice.
MPW, and I have my own channel on there as well. So any matches that haven't been uploaded anywhere else yet, on any streaming services or anything like that, you can find it on my channel right there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Because I will tell you, boys and girls, you will not be disappointed once you start looking at some of this footage, because my man, he's serious. He's all in. We talk about we talk about don't half-ass it, because if you're going to become a wrestler, you got to be all in, man. And it shows in your in-ring performance. So as a fan, I really thank you for taking your craft serious, going and doing it right. And looking good. Again, it goes back to the gear, the physical prowess of your, coming in through that curtain. Before I do let you go, because obviously you're beautiful. The crowd pops every time you come through that curtain. Have you always been what they call a face, a good guy, or have you ever been a heel or a bad guy? Because I'm very curious.
Most of my career, I've been a face. There's been a few points where I've had to heel it up a little bit, but even when I was a heel, I found that the crowd wasn't booing me. Even still, when I was a heel in CZW for a little bit of time, we were still coming out and getting like the biggest pops and getting like these ovations. It's just like, one more time. We're just like, we're bad. You guys shouldn't be cheering for us, but hey, we'll take it, But if the opportunity aligns itself for me to get a little more aggressive and a little more meaner, there's that side of Gabriel Skye that people still haven't 100% seen yet. So when the time comes, man, the world ain't ready. I'll just leave it at that.
And I do no comparisons by any stretch of the imagination, but it reminds me of a Mustafa Ali, because when he was on the independent circuit, he was the freelance champion. I believe their longest champion. Don't quote me on that, but he might have been their longest freelance champion. Again, don't quote me because I'm not that bright. But he was a face forever, and the crowd absolutely loved him. They pulled him in. He was a face. And then now look at him. You never seen anything like that from a Mustafa Ali. And again, I don't mean to compare, but you're very
Yeah,
similar
no,
in your
no.
physique and your, and
Thank
your
you. Yeah,
look.
no, I've gotten a few comparisons to Mustafa Ali, and this weekend I got a comparison to like Neville and like 123 Kid. So I always love that because those are guys that I look up to, especially we have like similar styles. So I'm always just like, oh, thank you.
Uh, you just use Neville. I hope YouTube doesn't monetize me. That's Pac. We
Pot,
don't call
yes, sir.
him
Pot.
Uncle Vince is gonna put his hand up my ass. What are you doing? No, no. If they ever try to monetize me, they're gonna type in my account and it's gonna be negative. So they can try all they
They're,
want.
they're
They
gonna
can
they're gonna ask for some royalty checks, Don.
try. Mr. Skye, you've been an absolute fantastic conversation for this past half hour. I wish we could go a little bit more, but
Hey.
I don't want to. I don't want to pee off this next duo I got coming up. I'll tell you, these guys.
Oh man.
But anywho, that's a different time and a different story. Gabriel Skye, you've been an absolute blast, and I cannot wait. Hopefully, at the end of this week, if I'm not mistaken, we're going to try to reconnect. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I should be available at the end of this week. I'll definitely let you know the day that's 100% solid, but for sure at the end of this week, man. Thank you for having me on. This is a
Oh,
blast.
absolutely. I got so many more questions, and like I said, a half hour. That's almost like turning on my camera and shutting it off. It just doesn't feel right. I don't know. It just feels wrong. Uh, well, this been stirring the pot with Don Kincaid, and I know we didn't stir the pot, but we learned so much about our special guest. This was stirring the pot with Don Kincaid and my very special guest, Gabriel Skye. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Don.